Hello and welcome to Tangling with Gina. Today we're going to look at two tangles. One is called Angelfish by Marizan van Beek. I hope I pronounced that name right. Then this little border tangle right here, Adante by Lily Moon. I'm going to show you first how to do each one separately, and then we'll look at combining them. Angelfish is very simple. Is basically fescue that we connect. And again, I'll be using my Micron 01 pen, a pencil for shading, and a small tortilla for blending. For today, for the practice, I'm just going to use my sketch pad. Then later, when I do my final design, I'm going to use what's called a phi tile. Let's turn it this way. And these come from Zentangle.com. And I really like them. The paper from Zentangle is so lovely. It has just enough texture to really be a nice paper to work on. And if you want to add color, it takes the color beautifully without wrinkling your paper. So let's get started. Angelfish. First thing we're going to do is we're going to start by making fescue. And fescue is a little seed up at the top, and then it curls in, kind of like so. Okay? And we're going to make them each one just a little shorter. And I'm doing this kind of large, just so you can see. And I think that's enough on this one. And I'll come over and do this side. Think about it, and normally I wouldn't do this, but I want to think about it as if I was making an arc. See if I draw that lightly. I'm making an arc. Okay. And I can even put one more on this side. I wanted to flatten it out. But if you think about it, you can make an arc. And that's one of the reasons I put the little dots in first and then draw the stems. Now, the next step is that we're going to take each step. We're going to start here. We're going to come around from the top and curl to the bottom. Start at the top, curl around to the bottom of that one. Start at the top, curl around to the bottom of that one. Top to bottom. Top to bottom. That one needs to be a little rounder, so top to bottom, top to bottom. And there's our angelfish. Now for shading it, there are a lot of different ways to shade it. Some people just shade the outside. What I like to do is shade very gently from the bottom, as if these were all coming up from one direction. Maybe a little bit. Again, be careful with your shading. While you want to give depth, you don't want to turn it too dark. That's not the purpose of this either. Shading adds depth. It takes something that's two-dimensional and gives that illusion that it's got some depth. It's got a little bit of depth to it. Sometimes a little bit right in there makes that fold. If you think about petals on a flower and how they fold over, that's rather what we're doing here with angelfish. I like angelfish a lot. I think it's one of my favorites. It's easy to do. Really easy to do. Once you get that hang of making that top part. So that is angelfish. Isn't that pretty? Has that nice fan look to it. I like that one a lot. All right, the next one, turn my page around. I'm always turning it around. Most people who tangle, you'll see that we do a lot of turning our paper around. So the next one is going to be Adante, I think is how we call it, or how we pronounce it. Again, I am not good at pronunciation on some of these. So I hope if the person who did this ever sees this video, they won't cringe too badly at my rather sad pronunciation of either the name of the tangle or the pronunciation of their name. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to start this one at a diagonal, and we're going to start by making valleys and hills. My heel and my valley and my heel. And that's more than enough. Okay. Then I'm going to start right here, not at the bottom, but kind of just on the inside. And I'm going to come up and I'm going to make a big curly Q. I'm going to do the same thing right here. Big curly Q. Now I have to really work on making these curly Qs because I tend to just want to make one circle, but I really want to make these a very pronounced curly Q, and I want to make them fairly large. There we go. Now, it's easier for me if I turn this way. Let's get it back in focus. Sorry about that. And I'm going to do the same thing. Okay? But I'm going to, this time, curl to the inside. So again, I'll come in right here. Curly Q. Come in here. And my big curly Q. Oh, that's not a very good curly Q. That's still not a very good curly Q. All right, so now I've made my curly Qs. So I'm ready for my next step. So the next step is I'm going to start here and trace over the heel till I hit my curly Q. Trace over my heel until I hit my curly Q. Trace over the heel, hit the top of my curly Q. Since I don't really have a curly Q here, I'll just take it to there. Same thing here, I'll just take this. Sometimes we have to make up where things would stop or start. Again, it's easier if we turn our tablets. I'm going to start here, make my curly Q, start here. I wish I'd made these rounder. I'll try to do better on the next one than when I do the real one. Now this is the very, very basic one. We do come back and put in some little stripes. Just add some texture, some visual interest to capture our eye. There are a lot of variations on this. Just take your time, slow and deliberate. What I can do is I can put a little end to that. And actually, I can do the same thing over here. I want to have a little bit of an end to it. had the appearance of having an end. Oops, let's do this one. And that is our basic variation. All right, what I'm going to show you now, I'm going to take my pre-colored tile, okay, I'm going to turn it at an angle because it's just simply easier for me to work at it with an angle. And I'm going to start with this one. But I'm going to do something a little different. Well, actually not. I'll do it in a few minutes. Well, maybe. I'm going to actually start down here. And I'm going to put in a line. Going across like that. There we go. And this is going to be for the bottoms of my heels. So now I'll start with my heels. And valleys. There we go. Okay. Then I will start by making my curly cues. I'm going to start just on the inside. Right here. About right here. Yeah, about right there. Make a big curly cue. Start about right here. Make a big curly cue. Start about right here. Make a big curly cue. Start about right here. Make a big curly cue. Start about right there. Make a big curly cue. And I'm going to turn it upside down. Start about here. Make a big curly cue. Now you're going to notice something different on this one because with that line, I'm not going to have as much room for some of these things. Okay, so now I'm going to start here. Come around to my curly cue. Start on this. Come around into my curly cue. On this one, I'm not going to have as much room. But that's all right. I'll use what room I have. I'll have varying sizes. In fact, it's rather nice sometimes to have those varying sizes. I'll make a little end on that one. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to put my stripes in. So see this. Be very careful. And deliberate. One of the things about a successful tangle is that you can turn it any way you want to. There's no right or wrong orientation, usually. There are some exceptions to that. Okay? But you can usually just turn it any way you wish. All right. Now what I'm going to do, get that hair off here, is I'm going to come down and in between these, make some little triangles. There we go. I'm not going to color them in at this moment. I'm not sure I will color them in, actually. I'll wait and see after I get it done how I like it. But I'm going to start right here, and I'm going to do the fescue again. All right, remember I want to make my dots. I'm going to do this. Oh, I made that too big. I want to do it so that they kind of go around, and I do these first. Not everybody does. It's okay. I'm just doing mine like that because I want to get it that nice curve. Okay. And then I'll do the over under. Start over, go under. And there would be one right here, so I'll just put it in. And yeah, I think I will finally come back and do something with the little triangle. Otherwise, it's going to look too empty. Again, I'm going to come over here. I'll put my dots in. Not everybody does this way. It's just, I found it helps me to get the size I want. And you'll see different teachers doing things different ways. You have to find what works for you. Okay. Again. Oops. How about we put the lines in first? Something looked funny on that one. Okay, that's 3. And we'll do the 4th one. That one's going to run into that one. And then the last one. Okay. Now I put the tops in. Over and under. So that's the beginning of this lovely little pattern. Okay. Now, one other thing that I can do, and I'm going to turn this around this way. Yep, make sure I had it right. I'm going to connect the top of these with a curve. And then inside each of these, I'm going to kind of R this with a little bit of a triangle shape. This is just going to give more visual interest, and it's another variation on this pattern. There we go. Yeah. I'm going to turn it around. You can decide which way you like it. Do you like it like this? You like it like that? Do you like this way? So we're not quite finished. Inside these little triangle patterns I just made, I'm going to make a lot of little orbs. This is actually a pattern called tipple. And we make them very close together, different shapes, but very close together so that we don't have a lot of white space. Tipple is usually one of the first patterns that I like to teach. I don't know why I haven't done it. Do the same thing over here. Notice we don't call these circles, we call them orbs. There's very few people in this world that are going to be able to draw a circle, a perfect circle. And if we say draw a circle, then people get all uptight if they're circles lopsided or it's not just right, and they want to go grab a compass or a nickel or something to trace to make their circle. So we, on purpose, we do not use the word circle. We use orbs. We're making these little orbs. I don't know what you think about it. I'm kind of liking it. I am going to do one thing. I'm going to come back, and where the stripes are in here, I'm going to start with every other one and color it in. I'll leave a little bit of a white spot, kind of like a highlight. Just gives it a little bit of a shine when I do this. You'll see when I finish doing this. Of course, now I do have color underneath this, so the shine will be whatever color happens to be under, which on this thing seems to be mostly the yellow in this area. And you can see the difference this makes. See the difference that makes between how this looks compared to this, which looks rather empty now. So now I'll come back down and I'm going to turn it and I'm going to do this one. This kind of makes this look more round and not so flat. There are a lot of ways to create that illusion of depth, and striping and leaving a highlight where you stripe is one of those methods that you can create that illusion that this is actually round and not flat. When you get down to these little parts, it's kind of hard, so you just have to kind of do the best you can. Maybe just a stroke on each side and call it quits. I got one more on this side. Turn it around. I'll just do a little stroke, little stroke, little stroke, little stroke. Got a little piece of ink pads sticking out. So now, again, this is it. I haven't added any shading yet. We'll do that next. But I'm rather liking it. I think this is as far as I'm going to go for today. I had thought about originally coming back down into this area and putting an angelfish. But I think instead, what I may be going to do is to add a third tangle. And maybe my next lesson, I'll show you that third tangle, and then we'll add it to this and you can see how it looks. The third tangle is one called henna drum. It's one of my favorites. Use it all the time. And I have no idea why it's called henna drum because it really looks like a flower. Looks kind of like a sunflower, I think. I don't know. Stylized sunflower, maybe. But it's really a fun tangle, easy tangle, and I use it a lot. Okay, so let's get this shaded in. It's hard to believe that we're getting in towards the end of January. I hope wherever you are that you're not suffering some of that horrible, terrible weather that I keep seeing that's sweeping across the United States with all that snow and ice. Where I live we have a semi-tropical climate, so we don't ever get that. I don't think this area has ever had snow. I think more about the same kind of what you would expect Hawaii to have without the, well, I was going to say without the volcanoes, but that's not true. We do have volcanoes. We even have a few in this area, but they're dormant. And we do have the occasional earthquake. Mexico City, last fall, had a lot of trouble with one particular volcano that just really wanted to get nasty and be spitty. And of course, they do have earthquakes. More so than we do. We are on a minor fault line, so I think one time there was an earthquake. I wasn't home for it. My friends posted about it on Facebook, and they were all like, was that an earthquake? What was that? You know, they had to stop and think about it. That's what a mild earthquake was. It was kind of like, my plates jiggled, you know, my pictures jiggled on the wall, you know. My coffee cup, the coffee in my coffee cup was kind of sloshing around. So, if you decide to add color to yours, and I like doing it, I think it gives it I think it just really kind of adds a niceness to it. You can do it two ways. You can do it the way I did, which is to do the color first. If you do, use a hair dryer, make sure it's good and dry, or just let it dry overnight. But it has to be totally dry or your ink is going to run and just make a big smeary mess. The other way is to draw your design, then put the watercolor on top. Again, if you do, that ink has to be totally, totally dry, or you're going to have a big mess. All right, so now I'm just going to put a little shading on the side of these again. I may not even blend this one because this one is just so tiny that if I blend it, it's probably going to make this too dark. So I'm probably just going to leave this with this little tiny light line to give the illusion that this is curved. And the same thing down here. Just to give that illusion that it's curved. I'll turn it around. Sometimes I try to do this without turning it, and that is never good. As I said, if you watch people who've been tangling for very long, you'll see those tiles just twirling around. And I'm going to put a little bit in here. Oh, and you know, I said I was going to come back. I said I was going to come back and look at those little white triangles, and I do want to do that. There we go. Just a little bit of shading. All right, let me grab my 01 pen again. Inside those little white triangles, I think, I was thinking about coming back with lines, but I think I'm just going to put little orbs. It's always nice to repeat patterns because your eyes are drawn to that when you repeat patterns. So inside of these, I'm just going to put lots of little round pebbly orbs. This also adds texture. Yeah, I like that. See the difference that makes? Little tiny small things can make a big difference. There we go. It almost looks like it's the seeds from the center of a flower, doesn't it? Like maybe sunflower seeds inside there. Maybe not. And there we go. That's it. And the nice thing about this one, everybody can look at it a different way. Everybody can say, well, I like it turned that way. Some people say, no, I like it that way. Other people say, no, let's turn it this way. Or, oh, that looks nice that way. That's one other thing about tangles. Most of them are not going to have a lot of, or not, I'm not going to say most of them, but a lot of them, you can turn them different ways. Whichever way that the balance and the harmony suits you, makes your heart happy, then that's what you should go with. So I'm very happy with the way this turned out. I have a lot of gratitude for it. And I have a lot of gratitude for y'all that are coming along on my tangling journey. And again, if you like this video, please do me a favor. Give me that thumbs up. That thumbs up. You know, we need that thumbs up. And if you don't mind, hit that subscribe button. That will help me to build this channel. Also, you can find me on Facebook at Zen Tangling. For fun. I don't know why I made this such a long name. And relaxation. So for new notifications about when I'm going to be uploading videos, or sometimes if it's a little 15-minute, less than 15-minute video, a little short video, I'll just post it right there on that page on my group. So join my group and keep up with the news. Thanks again for joining me. I hope you'll do this. If you do, please come over here to Sun Tangling for Fun and Relaxation and hit the comment button and post a picture of what you've done. Thanks so much. Enjoy your tangling.